According to the Energy Information Administration, the U.S. consumed about almost 1/4 of the total oil produced in 2008. Not only that, but over 60% of that was imported from foreign countries. Recently, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers released a report that read, "The days of inexpensive, convenient, abundant energy sources are quickly drawing to a close. We must act now to develop the technology and infrastructure necessary to transition to other energy sources." Policy changes, leap-ahead technology breakthroughs, cultural changes, and significant investment are requisite for this new energy future. Time is essential to enact these changes. The process should begin now. Hi, I'm Andrew Gonzales, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about the United States dependency on oil. Dependency on oil is something that people need to hear about, and is a problem that needs to be addressed. Oil dependence is grounded in many of the country's problems, ranging from the environment to the economy. With reserves depleting and consumption on the rise, the U.S. needs to reduce its oil dependence and encourage energy conservation and the use of renewable energies. With the use of the internet, I have come across many factual and credible sources from which I have researched and collected information for this topic. From the data I've gathered, I hope to provide you with some interesting and insightful information. It is my goal that you will learn something about this problem and be encouraged to take action to help solve it. To get a better understanding of the situation, it is important to know about why oil dependence is a problem, some solutions and actions to this problem, and its effect and the effects that will occur if action is taken. First off, it's important to learn and see why oil dependence is a problem. Oil or oil processed petroleum is used in so many products and has become entrenched in our lives. Oil is used in everything from transportation fuels to fuel oils for heating electricity to the foundation for making chemicals and synthetics. Oil is very useful and rich in energy, but we have become too dependent on it. As you can see from Figure 1, the U.S. consumed almost 23% of the total oil consumption in 2008. According to the National Resources Defense Council, America spends more than $200,000 per minute on foreign oil, or about $13 million per hour. These are just a few statistics that show the dependence we have on oil. This relationship and dependence on oil has negative effects on the environment, our economy, and our future. Oil and its byproducts are one of the most prevalent sources of environmental degradation in the world. With the heavy use of petroleum products, the United States is one of the leading countries in hazardous emissions. The combustion of fuels plays a huge role in the problem of air pollution. Several pollutants are released from fuel combustion, causing air pollution. According to PollutionIssues.com, petroleum fuel vehicles, engines, and industrial processes directly produce the vast majority of carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxides. These and other pollutants emitted reduce the air quality and can cause human health concerns. Petroleum fuel transportation releases massive amounts of carbon dioxide. Because of this, it is considered one of the chief causes of global warming. If you refer to Figure 2, you can see that the United States is the second leading country in emissions, in highest CO2 emissions. The United States spends massive amounts of money on bringing in oil. We import over 60% of our oil. This means that we are dependent on foreign countries for the majority of our oil. If you refer back to Figure 1, you can see the countries we import oil from and how heavily we rely on them. We are at the mercy of these countries, many of which are hostile or volatile regions. Events in these countries can have a huge impact on oil prices, which in turn would significantly affect our economy. Another point is the ever-growing demand for oil, which will result in higher prices, thus straining the economy. The last thing to consider when thinking about oil dependence is that oil is not a renewable energy. It will someday run out. The demand for oil is only intensifying, but the supply cannot keep up. As you can see from Figure 3, oil consumption is exceeding what is being pulled out of the earth. Today's oil use outpaces new oil discoveries, with the world using about 12 million more barrels per year than it finds. 12 billion more barrels. In 2025, the U.S. is projected to consume 28.3 million barrels a day, 44% more oil than we do today. The U.S. only produces a limited amount of oil with a small percent of known oil reserves, so eventually we will run out. Being a society that so heavily depends on oil, this would be devastating. This would greatly affect everybody and is something we need to be prepared for. These are serious problems that are all the result of us being dependent on oil. People need to know about these things and need to start taking action so that the future is not so strongly impacted by our oil dependence. This leads me into my next point on what you and other people can do to help solve this problem. I believe the most helpful solution to this problem would be to switch to a renewable energy or talk to your local congressman or senator about oil dependency. But the problem with these solutions is that they might not be workable for everybody. Solar power and such can be a rather expensive setup, while talking to your senator might get his or her attention, but who is to say that they can get anything accomplished in the near future? The best thing we can do to help solve this problem is to start practicing energy conservation and efficiency. We can do these things in our everyday lives with it being practical, safe, and cost-effective. There are so many different things you can do to be energy conservative and efficient. These things range from riding your bike or taking the bus to work, to turning off your electronics when you're not using them, to using energy efficient equipment. According to nycerta.com, enabling 1,000 energy efficient computers will save $20,000 in energy costs per year. That's equivalent to removing highway emissions from 27 cars. For some more ideas of what you can do, I encourage you to visit dosomething.org, a website that has a number of things you can do to help make a difference. The key to practicing energy conservation and efficiency is to be considerate and aware of the things you do every day. If you do this, you are making an impact and bringing us one step closer to being less oil dependent. If action is took, change will occur. The question is, what effects will practicing energy conservation and efficiency have? I say that most of the effects of these change will be positive. Sure, it might be inconvenient to ride your bike to work sometimes, but it will pay off in the long run. By practicing energy conservation and efficiency, we start to move away from being so oil dependent. If we start to move away from oil dependency, new technologies and renewable energies will start making headway. This is the change we want. As moving away from oil dependence will have positive effects on the environment, our economy, and our future. The environment will be much cleaner and healthy, while our economy will be much more stable if we are not so dependent on oil. And if we start moving away from oil early enough, we will not have any problems when we run out, because we will have new energies in place. If we do not start to change, the consequences are all negative. The environment will not only get worse, leading to more pollution and global warming, while the economy will always be shaky as it depends on oil so heavily. With high demand and speculation, higher prices will strain the economy. The worst thing to imagine is our future if we do not change when the oil runs out. If we are still heavily dependent on oil when it runs out, the effects on the United States would be catastrophic and hard to imagine. To me, it is obvious that we need to take action and change. The change might take time, but this is nothing compared to what will happen if we stay like we are. Taking action now is a positive step forward towards our well-being and future. Our dependence on oil is a problem, and I hope you see that something needs to be done. Oil plays a huge role in our lives, and we are heavily dependent on it. But this dependency is a problem as it has negative effects on our environment, our economy, and our future. We need to take action and change to help solve this problem. By practicing energy conservation and efficiency, we can make an impact and move away from oil dependency. By speaking about the problem of oil dependency, some solutions to it, and the positive effects of change, I hope that you have learned something and are inclined to take action. I'm going to close with a quote from Gandhi about change and taking action. But first, I remind you about the seriousness of this problem, and I encourage and challenge you to go out and take action today. We can make an impact and cause change, but we first must take action. Gandhi said it best, we must become change. We must become the change we want to see. Thank you.